Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Oh boy, we're going to talk about Erica Kirk, the grieving widow with the biggest smile ever on her face. She is the most smiling, grieving widow I have ever seen in my life, but I guess it is what it is. Everybody say we all grieve differently. She's just the only one I ever seen grieve with a huge old smile. So, anyway, she was in Mar-a-Lago this past Saturday, and they did a $10,000 a plate fundraiser that she hosted. So I said, "Oh, well, maybe it was for a good cause. Maybe it was for charity or something." No, it was for Charlie. So, in other words, this was money for her, more money for Erica, and they said it was over 1,000 people there. So $10,000 a plate, over 1,000 people there. So girl had been raking in the dough since Charlie's been gone. You would think, being that they had young children, I don't even think the children, none of them, neither one were school aged. They were very young children, that she would be more inclined to be home and be with those kids. She ain't thinking about being home with them kids. At this point, oh, it gets even better. Do you know CBS did a town hall for Erica Kirk? I was like, why would you do a town hall for Erica Kirk? She's not a political figure. Okay, but they actually did a town hall for Erica Kirk. I thought town halls were things like politicians or things of that nature. No, they did one for her. At the end of the day, y'all, because this is what white people do, they gonna make her a big celebrity. In fact, you're gonna see Erica way more than you ever seen Charlie. Wait until 2026 come. You'll probably see Erica more in 1 month than you've seen Charlie in a whole year. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna blow her up. You can see it coming already. So, I mean, it's just unbelievable. But yes, so this is what they did. And, immediately after Charlie was pewed, she got $10 million almost like within days, that they had raised for her, I think on Give, Send, Go. They had just days after he lost his life, she got all millions and been raking in the millions. So, like I had told y'all the other day, she got 40 million, 140 million from the time he departed all the way up until now. And now you can add in millions more from this fundraiser that took place at Mar-a-Lago on Saturday. 10,000 per plate. Yeah, right. Leonard Mayo sandwiches. Yeah. Yeah, I cannot imagine what was on those plates, but I'm certain it was nothing on those plates that was worth 10 grand. So, and yeah, she is turning out to be, she's sitting up there talking about Candace. She's turning out to be an even bigger grifter than Candace. I think she has outgriffed Candace at this point. Definitely. And, they're already saying she's going to probably have a way bigger salary than Charlie did when he was alive for Turning Point USA, because of all the money she's raking in. She is, they won't say how much it is, but they said she has a six-figure salary, and what she's making is, ultimately is a lot more than what Charlie made. Oh, she's gonna be a billionaire, trust me, y'all. She ain't gonna be no millionaire. She's already a millionaire. She came from a millionaire family. She was already a millionaire. She was already a millionaire. And from what I understand, Charlie left her 40 million. He left that for her and the children. So and she was raised in a millionaire family. So, she already came from money. But no, she's gonna be a billionaire, y'all. After they get finished plastering her face everywhere, that's the whole goal. That's what they do. So that's the whole goal. They're gonna plaster her all over the place. And really, all she does is dab her eye with a tissue, and she stares up in the air, dabs her eye with a tissue, and she slowly speaks word salad. And really, that's all she does. That's all she does. She doesn't do anything else. She says a lot of things that really don't make any sense. It's just word salad. That's all it is. But she's blonde hair and blue eyed while she speaks word salad. So it's acceptable. So it's acceptable. She's blonde hair, blue eyed, word salad, tissue dabbing, with no tears coming out. Yeah, so that's all acceptable. hmm So y'all, let me first do my reminder. Just to remind you, the sale is still on over at Etsy. I did list some butter. I'm still, in a dilemma with my jars. I'm still trying to resolve that issue. But the butter has been listed, and everything is 30% off. So if you go over there, you can still take advantage of the discount. So you have until the 24th to get your 30% off. So don't let it slip by. Make sure you grab up the discount while you can. Okay. All right, y'all. So please give me a one if you can see my screen. Thank you. Thank you. No, I mean, she's like many like herself, you know? You know what it is? You know why she's not well spoken? She's not well spoken because she has gotten by on her looks. Usually those kind of women like her, they get by on their looks. So it doesn't matter if they're well spoken or intelligent or anything. They just kind of get by on the way they look. So they get a slide, they kind of get a past their whole life because of the way they look. Now, as she gets age and the looks start fading, that's going to all change. You watch. That's going to all change when them looks start fading. And she start not looking so good anymore. Yeah, that's going to all fade. But you know what? She ain't the only one, y'all. You know who she reminds me of? And I couldn't put my finger on it for a long time. And y'all tell me if you think I'm wrong. You know who she reminds me of? Just her mannerisms and everything. She reminds me of Tammy Faye Baker, y'all. Am I wrong? Or do y'all not see this? She reminds me of Tammy Faye Baker. Maybe you don't see it, but I do. She looks like Tammy Faye Baker 2.0. But that's what she reminds me of. Tammy Faye was like that. She was just some blonde hair, empty headed Christian woman. She really couldn't sing all that great, but you know, she was just kind of like eye candy for the cameras and wore too much makeup and everything. Erica kind of reminds me of her. That's all. She just kind of reminds me of her. She's like Tammy Baker 2.0. That's what Erica Kirk is to me. Mhm. But that's what I see when I see her. She just looks like a younger version. That's all. She's a young version of Tammy Faye Baker. So anyway, let's get to it, y'all. Give me a one if you could see my screen. Yeah, I mean, and she never says anything significant, but they love having her on. And like I said, she just gets away with it because of her looks, and it's just nothing but word salad. Everything that comes out of her mouth is just nothing but a bunch of word salad. Mhm. Thank you. All right. Here we go, y'all.
Okay, guys, a little bit of news to round out tonight. It's December the 8th. Erica Kirk hosted a $10,000 plate black tie gala at Mar-a-Lago this past weekend. Wow. Okay. Um, the U.S. was involved in a drone strike in Yemen today, where two senior leaders of them were killed. So there's that. In a sweeping new initiative, the WHO has unveiled a global plan to accelerate the adoption of digital health tools from AI to wearable devices. It's just, just another notch under that column, y'all. We're gearing up. Everything's gearing up. A UFO whistleblower claims that President Trump was fully briefed on alien hybrids living among humans, or as some of us like to call them, Nephilim. You can read this. And I just want to let you know there's a lot of strikes happening in Lebanon. So there's your news. And listen, if you don't agree with my news, you don't think I'm reliable, you don't believe I'm dependable or whatever, that's fine. But you don't have to watch me. I mean, it's ridiculous at this point. And furthermore, I still would like to say that I have a better track record than the mainstream media outlets. Y'all want to come for me if I get something wrong every great once in a while? I'm still doing better than they do, and they don't never run retractions or fix anything. And I'm just little old me. So, you know what? I'm fine, and I am happy and proud of the quote job that I do with this. Thank you very much. Doing better than they are.
Everyone grifts differently, as they say. Erica Kirk has been on more press stops in the last 3 months than most celebrities manage in a year. Fox News, Hannity, The Five, Fox and Friends, Outnumbered, Megyn Kelly, the New York Times Dealbook Summit, a $10,000 a plate fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago, and a 100,000 person memorial 11 days after her husband died. A book tour, a CEO announcement 8 days after his death. And the immediate assumption is this has got to be about money. She's cashing in, which sure, monetizing her late husband's death. She saw an opportunity and she took it. Sure, the money is definitely real. The fundraising and the book sales are also real. But if you think this is just about money, you're missing the actual story. What Erica Kirk is doing is not just building wealth. She is building something way more dangerous. We knew Kirk's death was the uncorking of a new level of political violence, but we did not expect this. We did not expect what she would do with this. And real quick, I am Lauren Paritra. The only way we counter voices like hers and his and the grift is to make sure better voices are getting heard and louder. So please make sure you're subscribed. Let me walk you through what has been happening. Charlie Kirk was killed on September 10th, 2025. 8 days later, Erica was announced as the new CEO of Turning Point USA. 8 days. Most people are still planning the funeral. Most people are still figuring out how to get out of bed or tell their children what happened. Most people are trying to remember to eat. Erica was taking over a multi-million for-profit political organization. And then came the memorial on September 21st, 11 days after his death. State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Police estimated that over 100,000 people were there, which is way larger than most presidential campaign rallies. Erica gave a eulogy. She forgave Charlie's killer because Christ did. And she said the answer to hate is not hate. Noble words. And she delivered this, of course, in front of cameras, photographers, media, documenting everything. 11 days after he died. Showbiz, baby. Compare that to other high profile deaths, if we want to go apples to apples here. When Steve Irwin died, his widow, Terry, took over the Australia Zoo, which made sense because she had been running it with him. But she did not immediately launch a media tour, did not write a book or cash in on a book on his name within months. And she did not start giving interviews about how other women should adopt crocodiles. You see where I'm going with this? She grieved. She ran the organization, she stayed out of the spotlight. Erica Kirk waited 8 days and then full on media blitz began. A media blitz like I've never seen before.
Erica Kirk went on to Hannity to promote her late husband's book called Stop in the Name of God, Honoring the Sabbath. Girl looks happy, healthy, and glowing. But also in tonight's interview, there was one part that creeped me out. It's her snake eyes. Some of you guys called it, or lizard eyes. Watch this.
Okay, well, until you walk a mile in someone else's shoes,
It was really quick, so I'm going to show it again.
okay, well, until you walk a mile in someone else's shoes,
I don't know, the facial expressions, the body language, the eyes darting around, it just felt really off. And holy shit, all the traveling, the co hosting, the interviewing, the popping in and out of shows. She wants you to remember her name and her face. She wants that spotlight warmed and ready because something big is going to happen.
My mom and Charlie, they were best friends. I would always say that Charlie was her favorite child. But the thing that was so special about our Sabbath dinners was that it wasn't about religious protocol. Right. It was literally going to my mom's house. My mom's battling a very rare illness. It was literally going to my mom's house for dinner with my mom. It was, again, bridging that generational gap where my kids don't have phones. They're not looking at iPads. They're not looking at screens. We're sitting together and we're talking and we're loving on each other. How was your week? What were your wins? What are you grateful for? We went around the table and talked about that. And that was what was so special about our Friday nights. And Charlie was like, we have our Friday nights. But it's interesting. What I miss the most, what really just hits me hard is when I'm in the grocery store and I see his hot sauce, I want to buy it. Or it's the little things, his clothes everywhere. Excuse me, but it's the little things. And I know that people who have experienced loss totally understand what I'm saying. It's the small things that just get you. It's the visual of, Daddy coming home, and to the world, he was Charlie Kirk, but to us, he was my love of my life. My children's dad. I'm so sorry. Understandable. Excuse me, but it's those little things where, again, he would walk through the door, drop his bags, Daddy's home, take his phone, Friday night, Shabbat Shalom, throw it in the junk drawer, and it was just all us.
This clip from Erica Kirk's interview went from smile to sinister quickly. Check it out.
Okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What?
The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
The power of Christ compels you. And a reminder, you can't spell Erica Kirk without 3 Ks.
That they were best friends. I would always say that Charlie was her favorite child. But the thing that was so special about our Sabbath dinners was that it wasn't about religious protocol. Right. It was literally going to my mom's house.
Well, Shabbat freaking Shalom, Erica. I'm so glad that y'all honor the Sabbath. Like, I'm really glad. It kind of contradicts the text messages that I seen that where Charlie was saying like he was gonna have to abandon his loyalty to Israel or whatever. But Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat freaking Shalom.
You know how we're all watching Erica Kirk like look genuinely happy, like ecstatic. And we're sitting there thinking, I think that I would grieve longer if my pet cat or dog passed away than she's grieving for her husband, Charlie Kirk. I think I have the reason why. And before I get into those reasons, please like, share, repost, help me get out of algorithm hell. So she stepped into the CEO position that her husband had filled. And she's going to be making a high 6 figures, and she's going to be making more than he was making come 2026. But she's also now flush with literally tens of millions that have been injected into her bank account. She's getting all the royalties from all of their media ventures, which I'd love to know what other media ventures they're invested in besides his podcast. Charlie Kirk had a life insurance policy of $10 million. They recently sold their home and they profited $2 million from that. She got $10 million. Turning Point USA got $10 million earmarked to Erica and her kids after he was unalived. But there's also these 3 other organizations that collected donations for her. One's called Friends of the Kirk Family. So a crap ton of people donated money to her there. Liberty Memes Foundation. I'd love to know what kind of memes they're creating. We should look into that. And then the Glenn Beck 9 through 12 project. All of the donations are being sent directly to her. And now she's getting ready to publish a book, which you know is going to be a wild bestseller. And what's really fascinating about all this is that her top focus right now is to convince women to be trad wives, to stay home, have babies, and serve their husbands, while she's sitting here working as a CEO. She's working in a professional setting, making millions upon millions of dollars, telling other American young women, don't go to college, stay home, have babies, serve your husband like God says. It's amazing. Anyway, there you go.
Erica Kirk hosted a $10,000 a plate black tie gala at Mar-a-Lago last weekend. I've had periods that have lasted longer than her grieving.
What the hell is CBS News doing? They are going to hold a town hall during prime time on December 13th with Erica Kirk. And if you don't know who she is yet, that's Charlie Kirk's widow, the new CEO of Turning Point USA. And she is apparently going to take questions from evangelicals, religious leaders, and political leaders. And this is going to be shot and pre-taped in New York and air prime time. And I just would love to get some people from maybe different viewpoints in there asking questions, like people like me, creators that are maybe a little more left-leaning, to ask some questions, because we have some interesting questions too. Anyways, I'm just shocked that a right-wing group is being given prime time on a platform that's been known for being pretty independent, pretty centrist, which is now seems to be leaning more to the right under their new leadership. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. Like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
CBS News aired an 1-hour primetime special called CBS News Presents a Town Hall with Erica Kirk, which was a town hall that featured Erica Kirk, who now leads Turning Point USA after the killing of her husband, Charlie Kirk. CBS confirmed the program schedule on the format well ahead of time and described it as a conversation about grief, faith, political violence, and the state of national discourse, with the questions coming from the mixed studio audience. It was a town hall. It was there. The special also marked a high-profile on-air moment for one Barry Weiss, the CBS editor-in-chief who moderated the discussion. So it was a bit much, if you will. Clips and write-ups from the broadcast focus on Kirk's emotional account of living through political violence and her message that the internet can turn people into inhumans, including those who mocked her husband's death. She also urged parents to take a harder look at how children are being shaped by online subcultures and radical content, framing it as a responsibility issue, not just a politics issue. Entertainment and mainstream news coverage highlighted that the town hall leaned heavily into personal testimony and moral language rather than any policy debate, which some viewers found powerful, others viewers found more than a bit frustrating from the night. Reaction from the town hall was sharply divided. Some viewers praised CBS for putting a grievous public figure into a format designed for a longer answer and human emotion sort of situation. Others criticized the network for giving a primetime platform to the head of a highly partisan organization, that being TPUSA, and for, of course, placing Barry Weiss, the polarizing media figure, at the center of it all. Reporting ahead of the broadcast a lot of internal skepticism as well, with accounts describing pushback from some folks at CBS News, many staffers who weren't so good about the booking of Kirk and the running of the show by Weiss. At the same time, there was some unexpected counter-programming where the town hall was airing on CBS Live. Breaking news coverage from a mass shooting at Brown University dominated the news cycle, especially in the Northeast. The Associated Press reported that 2 people were killed, 8 were injured at the time of this reporting on this event, and large police response and rapid changing information during the initial hours was happening. In situations like this, local affiliates sometimes extend live coverage or cut into scheduled programming, which is what happened for some folks up in the Northwest. Some viewers reported that normal primetime schedules did not look the same everywhere. We don't have a full list of affiliates who dropped out specifically, but we did see online on X, of all places where people were showing that they were showing coverage, and it showed the taglines that should have been Charlie Kirk, but actually was the news coverage going live at the moment. The town hall itself landed at the intersection of 3 sensitive issues: political violence, corporate media influence, and public trust in mainstream networks. CBS framed the show as an attempt to address grief and division through direct conversation, and it promoted it throughout the format through all its platforms, everything it had to do. But critics argued that the network's choice of guests and moderator made it look less like a bridge building and more like a free set, especially given that the broader reporting from CBS leadership, the changes that networks are doing and what they want to do to put a more mix of the political views that are on the air. Supporters countered that refusing to talk to controversial figures is why Americans no longer share basic facts, and this was a controversial figure that was talked to online or on TV, I guess, live, more or less. I think it was live. It was people were there. I think it was actually recorded, but it was on TV live for us to see on a Saturday night. A town hall format can slow the temperature and let viewers hear a person's full story instead of viral clips. It also gives space to discuss political violence in human terms, which many Americans agree is getting worse. CBS can argue it served the public interest by addressing the grief, forgiveness, and escalation, or de-escalation as is the case, in the primetime spot. The real problem, is the booking itself. It looked like a partisan act to many people, me included. The pushback suggests that CBS underestimated, that big word, how much distrust a large audience already has. Airing it during a major breaking news day, which they couldn't have planned for, but it just happened, with some markets still focused on the Brown University shooting, also increased some confusion and added some anger to the bit and pieces of it, especially among viewers who felt that network's priorities were kind of off. Finally, this show actually risks becoming another cultural war battle, which can drown out any messages of de-escalation they claim to promote. It was supposedly a olive branch to bring people together, bring someone to talk about the person, the likeness, the feelings, the activity of a Charlie Kirk by someone who should be sympathetic. His widow, who now runs the organization he ran and is running with the same messages. So we got a special Kirk edition of CBS, whatever you want to call it tonight, with Barry Weiss in the driver's seat doing the explanation of it. And it was, from my experience, what it was a snow job for all practical purposes. But you may have watched it. You may have seen clips of it by now. You may have addressed it so far and kind of went with it. On the night where I was live streaming and watching this while also watching the final match of John Cena, which hadn't came around until this point, so I was watching the mid card. It was a night where big things were happening, and this was supposed to be a big thing, but unfortunately, the very sad story of a shooting at another university overtook some of the issue that was taken, and the Twitterverse wasn't very happy with it either. What say you about Mrs. Kirk and her continuing the message of Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA and using this platform, CBS, with its issues right now, to bring a message that was supposed to be more peace, supposed to be more togetherness, supposed to be more just conversation? As a place that calls itself the Conversation Project, because that's what we named ourselves, we want your part of the conversation right now. Let us know about Erica Kirk and her primetime special.
All right, y'all. So anyway, she had quite a Saturday, y'all. So her town hall and her $10,000 a plate gala at Mar-a-Lago happened on the same day. You know? So that's what happened for Erica Kirk. So like I said, get used to her because she ain't going nowhere. They're going to make sure she don't go nowhere. They're going to keep her busy, keep mics up in her face and keep her up in our faces whether we want to see her or not. That's what they going to do. So I think it's hilarious, but let them do it, y'all, because they always, and when these people plan to do something, it never turns out the way they think it's going to turn out. And trust me, with this Erica Kirk thing, it ain't going to turn out the way they think. So let them run with it all they want. We've seen this play out before. It is not going to turn out the way they think. If you don't believe me, let's look at the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. Remember how they tried to prop him up and keep him out here in everybody's faces? Remember Kyle Rittenhouse, y'all? Yeah. All right. How did that turn out? How'd that turn out, y'all? All right. So they're trying to do the same thing now with Erica. They're going to keep Erica out here in everybody's face and keep her yapping out here. Let me know how this turn out. These things don't turn out the way they think. I know what the hell I'm talking about. It's not going to turn out the way they think with this chick. So y'all, that's all I have for you. Now I already have another live because the Somalians keep harping on, we need to help them because they came out for George Floyd. They're doing the same thing the Latinos and the Mexicans did. Y'all need to come out and help us because we were out there with you with George Floyd. Yeah, everybody was out there for George Floyd. Every damn body and their mama was out there for George. Well, now the Somalians are doing that George Floyd stuff. So, people are responding. And another one that I'm working on, I just got to get it uploaded, is Washington State got hit with 15 inches of rain. 100,000 people had to be evacuated. They got hit with an atmospheric storm. And man, that thing was bad. So we're going to get into that a little later as well. So I hope you all have time to come back a little later. My next live will be at 1:45, where we'll be talking about the Somalians that claim they were there for us during George Floyd. So we need to come out and be there for them, as this government is trying to deport them, but see, there are huge differences. What they don't get is George Floyd was a life wrongfully taken. All right. His life was wrongfully taken by Derek Chauvin. Their situation was a crime within their community that was committed. They scammed and stole money from the government. Maybe it wasn't all of them, but it was enough where billions of dollars were taken from the government by people within their community. Nobody lost their lives. So you're asking us to back you up on crimes that your community committed. With George Floyd, George Floyd may have been a flawed human being, but he didn't commit a crime at the time his life was lost. There are differences here. You know, I'm sorry, I'm not backing you up on no deportation and it was due to scamming they found out your people were doing. I mean, y'all better fix the problem that you have internally. That's what you need to do. And they're doing the same thing the Latinos. So what you do, and also the Israelis, if you remember when that war jumped off with Gaza, they tried to pull the same thing. Oh, where's the black people? We were there for you during the civil rights movement. Okay, so everything is transactional with you other groups. So if you do something for us, we got to jump up for you. Okay. Well, then, you know what? Here's the deal with all of you other groups. Don't do anything else for us then. Don't do anything else for us. So if everything is transactional, don't jump up and do anything else for us. Y'all don't do nothing for us anyway, you know? So go on about your business like you always have. But stop calling on us and stop pointing to what you have done for us just to get us out there for you. But why should we get our heads cracked open for Somalians that committed crimes and scammed the government? But we'll get into that at 1:45. So I will see you then. Shalom, family.